Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
I guess the forces of evil are doing their dirt, at least in Louisiana. So this video here from Colin Kalinsky will discuss that in more detail. Let's go to that.
This is being implemented in certain states. I'm going to walk you through that. Really, really dark stuff when you realize what the purpose of this is. Then we'll get to Trump's war on Harvard and how that actually backfired. That's pretty interesting for a number of reasons. We'll also talk about some of Trump's ICE Gestapo thugs are now assaulting American citizens. We have it on video. We also have Trump humiliating some of his biggest supporters with one throwaway sentence that he put out there, which really just exposes his fraud for what it is. Then later on, Disney CEO is muzzling The View from criticizing the Trump regime. And we have an angry and confused Jordan Peterson getting cooked by a college kid, which I enjoy thoroughly. So we have all that and more. You guys know the drill. Everybody, please do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you absolutely nothing. And you know what it is, man. Everybody, please support the show on Patreon. That helps out so much. You have no idea. This is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read or anything like that. You guys fund this show $2 a month at a time, $5 a month at a time. Thank you for all you people. And thank you if you've ever just tipped using the thanks button on YouTube. That also means the world. Thank you for subscribing to Crystal Kyle and Friends. And of course, go hook my boy Corin up with a subscription on his YouTube channel called Corin's World. We post the Kyle and Corin podcast over there now, so if you're interested in listening to that, Kyle and Corin, old school style, you can go ahead and go to Corin's World and take a look. So, all right, let's get into it, man. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So let's start with this. Louisiana has made a disastrous decision. They decided we are going to utilize the new voter list maintenance database. Now, I know that sounds very technical, and serious and highbrow, but it's not. So let me walk you through it. Louisiana has become the first state to utilize a new voter list maintenance database from the Federal Department of Government Efficiency. So this is a list from DOGE. This database combines information on individuals' immigration status and death records. Quote, since taking office, I have repeatedly requested this critical data from the federal government to check Louisiana's voter registration list, Secretary of State Nancy Landry said, after being stymied by the previous administration. There was no DOGE under the previous administration. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm thankful to President Trump for his quick work in crafting a cost-free, user-friendly database with valuable information that will help keep Louisiana's voter rolls accurate. Clean voter rolls are critical to the integrity of our elections. Secretary Landry discussed and offered feedback on this new database with White House staff, the Department of Government Efficiency, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and the Social Security Administration at recent meetings in Washington, D.C. Additionally, after being vetoed 3 times by Governor John Bel Edwards, Act 2 of the 2024 regular legislative session took effect this year and will allow for expanded voter list maintenance through mailed confirmation cards to individuals who have not voted or had contact with election offices in 10 years or more. So let's understand what's actually happening here. DOGE came up with a purge list, and Louisiana is signing up to implement the DOGE purge list. So what they're going to do is disenfranchise massive numbers of voters on a whim in the state of Louisiana. And the actual goal of this is to try their best to make it so a bunch of people in minority communities don't vote. A bunch of people in Democratic regions don't vote. If you have one person named Jose Hernandez who passed away, well, why don't we take all the Jose Hernandezes off of the voter rolls and then all of them are disenfranchised? I know that sounds conspiratorial, but there is a documented track record of this in the United States of America. This is the Jim Crow approach. They come up with all these clever ways because they can't just come out and say, we want to stop as many black people from voting as possible. So what they do is they come up with bullshit reasons to purge the voter rolls and to throw out the votes of the people who they think are going to vote the wrong way. So here we go. Louisiana just opened the floodgates to algorithmic voter suppression. They're using Doge, likely Elon's synthetic AI tool, not the meme coin, to clean voter rolls. Translation: purge poor, young, and minority voters using AI trained on MAGA coded data. This isn't innovation, it's installation. And here's what it leads to. Biased purges. If Doge uses engagement, location, or digital history to verify voters, it will disproportionately flag marginalized groups as suspicious, like Musk's X algorithm. It's rigged. No oversight. AI auditing voter rolls removes transparency. No one will know who got purged or why until it's too late. Total centralization. If this spreads, it gives a single, unregulated AI system control over the foundation of democracy. Voter eligibility becomes a black box. Why are they pushing this? Because fake engagement equals fake legitimacy. Doge isn't cleaning rolls, it's scrubbing dissent. If we let this spread to all 50 states, it's not an election anymore, it's an AI-assisted coup. This isn't voter protection, it's voter prediction, suppression, and deletion. That's exactly right. That's exactly what's going on here. And remember, Elon Musk is the same guy who was throwing people off of Social Security on a whim, saying, you were born on a U.S. military base overseas, so you're an American citizen, but I'm just going to say, since you were born overseas, I'm taking away your Social Security, right? We're going to say this person died when this person didn't die. We're taking away your Social Security. Oops, look at that. We slashed 50% of the Social Security offices, so you have a problem you want to fix. You can't really do it, though, because we shut down half the offices. This is what this is. Oh, I'm getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Oops, did I cut Meals on Wheels? Did I cut pediatric cancer research? Did I cut our nuclear safety protocols? Oops, what have I done? Like, everything they say is a lie. Everything they say is a lie. So why would anybody believe that when they say we're going to clean the voter rolls using Doge, that it's actually going to clean the voter rolls, right? No, the idea is voter disenfranchisement. That's the idea. And now Louisiana is implementing it. And the devastatingly dark question is, are all the other states going to follow suit? Are all the states that are run by Republicans, are they going to follow suit? Are they effectively going to try to make it so that certain states can never go Democrat, despite, what could be a wave election? Is that what they're doing here? And I think the answer is yes. I think they're trying to implement it. Now, by the way, this should remind you of, remember this? Trump executive order on voting denounced as authoritarian power grab. Pro-democracy critics warn the presidential directive represents a significant overreach of executive power and poses a direct threat to the fundamental right to vote. Voting rights groups and pro-democracy advocates responded with uproar after President Trump on Tuesday evening issued what they warn amounts to a far-reaching authoritarian power grab in the form of an unlawful executive order that would restrict voter access nationwide and punish states that make it easier for citizens to have their political preferences registered at the ballot box. The official executive order, under the Orwellian header preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections, would do the very opposite, warn critics, by making it more difficult for tens of millions of eligible U.S. citizens to cast their ballots in state and national elections. The order, said Brett Edkins, managing director for policy and political affairs with the progressive advocacy group Stand Up America, is a blatant effort to usurp state and congressional authority over our elections and stop millions of American citizens from voting. The order, which multiple legal experts say is likely illegal, Edkins continued, threatens to punish states that do not comply and could potentially disenfranchise any American who doesn't have a passport. It even invites Elon Musk's Doge to help enforce the measures. This isn't about securing our elections. It's voter suppression, plain and simple. The ACLU said the presidential directive represents a significant overreach of executive power and poses a direct threat to the fundamental right to vote, in part by ordering, by fiat and without the consent of Congress, the Election Assistance Commission to alter the national mail voter registration form to require documentary proof of citizenship, such as a passport, to register to vote, something never needed in the nation's history. Trump's order also attempts to force states to enact documentary proof of citizenship requirements. It would force state election authorities, under threat of significant federal funds being withheld, to discard all absentee and mail-in ballots received after Election Day. So even if you send it in before Election Day, they want to disregard it. Lisa Gilbert, co-director of Public Citizen, echoed, we had her on Crystal Kyle and Friends, by the way, go check out that interview, echoed others' critique, saying the president's assault on voting rights represents the opposite of election integrity. This is a blatant attack on democracy and an authoritarian power grab, warned Gilbert. The executive order, she said, would compromise our election system, suppress the votes of millions of Americans, especially voters of color, and pave the way for still more Trumpian false claims of election fraud. A president does not set election law and never will, said Virginia K. Solomon, president and CEO of the pro-democracy group Common Cause. Trump's executive action is an attempt to take away our right to vote or make it so hard that we don't participate. The people reject these tactics. Common Cause and our members will fight voter suppression wherever it shows up, including the White House, because voting is a right for the many, not a select few. The executive order will not stand. So the whole idea of this executive order is to basically put up as many barriers as possible, make it so as many people as possible can't vote. Because as you all know, the more people vote overall in the country, the more likely the election is to go Democrat. The lower the voter turnout is, the more likely it is to go Republican. So what their plan is find a way to disenfranchise voters specifically from regions where a lot of Democrats vote, right? And again, shout out to Greg Palast. Greg Palast has done great work on this last election and what really happened. He released a great documentary talking about the return of these Jim Crow tactics, where now in some states, all somebody has to do is challenge your right to vote, and then it defaults to throwing your vote out. And then you put an absentee ballot in, but guess what? Or a provisional ballot, but guess what? 50% of them don't get fucking counted. They don't get counted. And so this is all a highfalutin way to mask the reality that it's an authoritarian power grab. It's an attempt to rig elections and do it up front. Now, thankfully, the courts have already slapped down a bunch of provisions of this executive order because the president doesn't have this kind of authority when it comes to an election. However, having said that, with Elon Musk and Doge coming up with this AI bullshit to clean the voter rolls, which really means purge the voter rolls, if the states willingly sign up for that on their own, like Louisiana is doing, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to disenfranchise millions. Just so everybody understands, even the debate over voter ID, the whole reason why Republicans want voter ID, and they say this in their most honest moments, is because they know, it's another hurdle to voting. And the more hurdles we put up, the more likely we are to disenfranchise low-income people and minority communities. They know that. That's why they're doing it. They know that. So if you don't have the particular kind of ID that they want you to have, if you don't jump through the right hoops, then they get to say, sorry, you can't vote. So think about it. In that scenario, your right to vote becomes a privilege, right? Because they just put up more hurdles, making it harder, making you have to do other things in order to vote. You're just taking away somebody's right in that instance. We should have automatic voter registration, and we should also have mandatory voting, like some other developed countries where we have mandatory jury duty in this country. So if we can have mandatory jury duty, but we don't have mandatory voting, I think I'm on the side of mandatory voting because, everybody's voice should be heard. And unfortunately, what we have is the opposite in this country, where they try to disincentivize poor people and minority communities from voting, try to suppress turnout in Democratic areas while raising it in Republican areas. And they do it in the most obvious ways. I mean, again, they put the veneer of seriousness over it. We're cleaning the voter rolls. No, you're not. You're purging the voter rolls. Louisiana is signing up to basically steal every election for Republicans from now until the end of time. And we better hope other states don't do it, or even that gets challenged in court. So I wish I had better news for you on this front, but they're acting on it. They're acting on their plans to try to steal elections. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
Am I surprised? No. I think it's obvious even to MAGA that they're looking at some huge losses here in the midterms. I think they understand that. I mean, as crazy as they are to follow Trump, they're not so crazy as to ignore the attitude of this country has shifted heavily against them, and Trump. And the more shit that he does that makes things worse in this country, the greater the numbers are that are going to vote against him. So, yeah, some of these red states, they're probably going to do something to try and stop the inevitable. What will override any cheating they do is the number of Democrats and Republicans that come out and vote against Trump. That's how you defeat this. And I don't think Democrats really have to worry about messaging at this point, because Trump is doing all the talking. He's doing all the legwork that the Democrats could never hope to have achieved. And that being, just people hating him for all the crap that he's doing. The Democrats couldn't create that. Only Trump could. So he's the gift that keeps on giving. And as for Musk and all them, hey, they're only helping it. They're only helping the movement against him. So I'm not gonna hope that Trump changes his pattern here, because I know he won't. He's that arrogant. Even though he knows that the country's really hating him bad and it's affected his approval numbers, he's not going to change what he's done. So, but like I said, some of these states are going to see some problems when it comes to voting, and it'll probably show up next year during the midterms. People are going to start running into roadblocks here. So what can I suggest? You know, make sure that everybody's registered. You know, have your information double checked. Have all your IDs and everything handy when they ask for it. I mean, I don't know. That's the best I can hope for. But surely we shouldn't have anybody staying home not voting this time. Okay, I think these people here have learned a valuable lesson about that.